All right, episode 167. We talk Phillies, potential trades, and answer fan questions down in the strip. You're listening to the Bucko Banter podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plate, sending case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Adam, welcome back. Good morning. Another live
Morning.
show here in the strip. Got a lot to talk about. There was a game last night. I was not there. I actually just got back a half hour ago. I was down in Deep Creek last night. So you're going to have to catch me up on last night's game and what happened at PNC Park.
Good game at PNC Park. First, what are you drinking today from Allegheny Coffee?
My usual, just a medium roast, black coffee. Hot.
Awesome.
It's
Love
not
it.
that hot out right now. It's like, 60 degrees, cloudy. It's been raining like all week.
Weather's been absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I'm glad it held up today, but looks like we'll be able to get a game in.
Yeah.
Got a game in last night. The day before, they didn't play till 10
o'clock.
p.m.
We left like an hour before the game started.
Yeah. If you listen to our last episode, we didn't recap the last game just because we
Not much to recap either.
not much to recap. They did pick it up against the Phillies though yesterday. All right, and let's talk about it. Went to the game with cameraman Deebs over here, and it was the first game this year that we went without any camera equipment, out any microphones.
Just watched.
We just simply watched. We went up to the rotunda. We went into the bleacher seats, which was fantastic, by the way, sitting just in the bleachers for most of the game.
Left
With
field bleachers.
just so many drunk college students just Googling the left fielder and trying to
Who's
harass him.
Alexander Canario? Or the left
No,
fielder
for the Phillies, yeah.
yeah.
So that was quite the experience. We really enjoyed that, and they pulled off the win. Right, a 5-4 walk-off win. Bailey Falter didn't have his best stuff. It wasn't the best outing that we saw. He was dominant most of May. But listen, Henry Davis with a poolside home run.
No way.
Yeah, believe it or not. Brian Reynolds with a couple hits. IKF maybe with the bunt of the year. Everything was just clicking when they needed it to, when they needed to execute. And they came away with the dub. Let's talk.
Well, first,
yeah.
Bailey Falter was not a revenge game per se
No.
for Bailey Falter. Not that there's revenge to be had. I think the Pirates won that trade, Rodolfo Castro for Bailey Falter. But I would say that this seems like, even though I couldn't watch the game last night, seems like one of the first games where they actually showed some life and fought a little bit towards the end when they were down. What was it, 4-0 at one point, or
It was, I believe, 4-1.
4-1? Okay.
4-1. They never were like down too much throughout the game. Like they were able to close the gap pretty quick. But let's shout out the bullpen, right? Because I think as of late it's been a little shakier than normal. They got off slow, got hot, a little bit slow again. Sugar, 1 1/3, no hits. Caleb Ferguson came in 1 2/3, 2 Ks. Dennis Santana came in, shut the door, and then David Bednar struck out the side last night. It was absolutely electric. High leverage situation, 4-4 in the bottom of the ninth, or the top of the ninth. Like, you can't ask for anything better than
That ERA is below 4 for the first time in a while.
below 4. It was at 4.12 before.
Yeah.
It was at 4.12. It's below 4. So let's talk about it then, right? Let's talk about it. You have a bunch of high leverage relievers on this team.
Yes.
Not necessarily saying that they're good high leverage relievers, but you have options. And you've talked about this a lot on the pod, where probably the deepest they've been in terms of arms in recent years. You have Majinski sitting in AAA right now, who can definitely be a high leverage arm. We don't know what they're going to do with him. Braxton Ashcraft looks like he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, yeah, Holderman's hurt. He was like your 7th, 8th inning guy. But then you have Bednar, you have Santana. What are you doing with Bednar this year? Is this finally the year that they start fielding offers for him, or is it too late?
Yeah, I think he's recouped some of his value. I mean, you're not going to get from what you got 2 years ago, but I think you could get more than most people think right now at the deadline, because that's when you're going to pay the premium, right? Teams want to contend. There's a lot of teams in the league right now that need bullpen help that are contending. specifically the one that's in town right now. The Phillies could use a high leverage reliever. Alvarado's suspended. He can't pitch in the playoffs, I believe, due to his suspension, even when he comes back. So they're definitely in need of a guy in the back end of their bullpen. The Cubs need bullpen help. I don't know if we're going to trade Bednar in division. The Dodgers need bullpen help. There's a lot of teams that could use some bullpen help, and I think we should take advantage of that. And Bednar is also the guys on the 1-year deal, Caleb Ferguson, probably going to field offers on him. More of a middle relief guy. Yeah. If Tim Mesa was healthy, I'm sure they'd field offers there as well. But you have some options.
Right. You have options. I would definitely. I think Santana is your breadwinner.
Santana, yeah, absolutely.
Santana is your breadwinner in terms of what's going to yield the highest return right now for a team that's so close. That like you said, the Phillies, need somebody. Romano has what 8 ERA now.
Yes, and Romano started off really
good for years now.
Yeah,
he wasn't good in Toronto.
I feel like that's been the Phillies' biggest hold up over the last few years is like for sure bullpen depth. Like Jeff Hoffman was their best reliever last year, and he obviously signed a 3-year deal with the Blue Jays in free agency. I thought he might go back into the rotation, but I'm sure they would love to have Jeff Hoffman back. They've gone through like Gregory Sotos or Anthony Dominguez, Craig Kimbrell. They've gone through some names, and I'm sure you could sell them on some of these relievers that we have that are, on 1-year deals, cheap, or like a Bednar who could be a high leverage guy, or a Santana. The Phillies farm system is pretty deep. So I think we could get creative here.
Absolutely. Can definitely get creative. Couple headlines from last night. Endy Rodriguez started the game, did not finish the game. I don't know if you heard about this.
Elbow discomfort. I don't love that.
Elbow discomfort. Obviously, he's coming off of Tommy John surgery. Endy can't stay healthy. Talk about we don't have a sample size on Endy yet, and we know he's athletic. The pop time is unreal.
Yeah,
like he's good behind the dish. The bat's still to be determined, but he just can't stay on the field, man. It's such a young guy and young career, and you have Henry Davis, who you're trying to get more at bats right now, and then you try and figure out how when Bart comes back, how you get Endy in the mix and keep him on the roster. I just don't know. Like let's say all of them are healthy. What are you doing? You're not rostering 3 catchers right now.
No, it would really help. You could if like Bart was like a DH, like in the McCutchen role, but since McCutchen is here DHing, you're not going to roster 2 DHs because Bart's not going to play anywhere else. Has he ever played first base? I don't think he has with the Giants.
No,
that's something you can explore in the offseason, but you brought in Spencer Horwitz to be a long-term first baseman, right?
Right.
And he's under control. So you could look at that as a platoon option, but I'm sticking with Henry and hoping that the bat continues to grow. I know he went after that hot streak out west. He went on a little bit of a downslide, and now he picked up last night, it seems like. But I think you continue to you hope that he continues to grow with the bat because the glove has definitely grown.
Yes,
and you keep Bart as your bat first catcher for now.
Well, let's stick on catcher real quick. Henry Davis, who we've seen a little bit of a flash in the pan, right? Went deep last night. Nice extended hand swing, obviously pull side. I believe he had a double as well. What, like you just keep riding with this, right? Like you have to see what you have in Henry Davis, and the biggest argument against Henry right now, well, besides like the obvious like mechanical flaws that you see at the plate, and sometimes it just looks like he's guessing, is the second thing is service time, right? And plate appearances, and you're not going to be able to make any type of determination on that until you see how many career bats does he have right now? Barely,
not a lot.
Anything,
yeah,
right?
He's below
anything. 500
career bats, maybe.
Yeah,
it's not because he's gone up and down. You got to think about it. Yeah, he's been around. He was drafted 21, 22. Right. He's been around for a little bit, but he's been going up and down and struggling and not getting consistent at bats until now, really.
Right.
So, I think a number 1 overall pick too. Like you got to write it out as long as you can.
100%. I'm glad he's getting the playing time right now, and said he's good behind the plate. It's the exact opposite of what they've drafted him for. But if he could provide that type of power, right? If he could hit 240, right? 230, 240, but slug, right? Or give you 20 bombs a year. That's unreal, right? And that's like
you take that
what we're talking about right now.
You take that every time, and especially at a position where offense is not at a premium. Let's compare him to like Austin Hedges, right? Austin Hedges is going to bat around 160, 170. But he's
might need to go lower on that number.
Yeah, but sure. But he's got the glove and he's stuck around in the league for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm taking Henry Davis over Austin Hedges every time right now. Like given the growth of his bat too.
Right.
I think the upside is obviously way higher.
100%.
So you continue to ride it out with him, and I think he's got I still think he has a bright future here with this organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we have some questions from the mailbag that we put out.
So, we got a couple things here. I just need you to take a guess at who the first person Bucko Mike came to listen to the Tea and Crumpets. Just at 10 and 1 second, he was logged in here. We have a little bit of a detour here if you guys want to get into it.
Is he still on Newcastle? Is he still talking about Newcastle?
So he said a couple things. The first question he had was he wanted to talk about the right way to eat a hot dog because he disagrees with Scott on this one. He said definitely not just ketchup.
No, I do ketchup and chili.
Which is gross.
No, it's not.
That is disgusting.
It's disgusting. It's bad, baby.
Go to Coney Island, chili. Put some ketchup on it.
That is absolutely foul, dude.
It's
he said Newcastle is not the hot dog capital of Pennsylvania.
Yes, it is.
That's Burgettstown.
Burgettstown is not. All right. Is this like a Scott versus Noah hot dog showdown? Right
Well, I think it's an everybody versus Scott showdown.
yeah.
Hey, listen, I didn't name it the hot dog capital of America. Okay, I didn't name it that, but it is. Ask the Norton.
What else we got?
We got some feedback in the chat saying there's some mic issues going on potentially.
That's Danny.
Can you hear me?
I have plenty of banter.
We might be okay. We got Zach Smith in here saying the show Shore and More TM. We got to hit him up for that trademark.
Okay.
And then we have a couple in the mailbag.
What about any College World Series?
Louisville, Miami. I was trying to root against Jim Rosati last night.
Louisville put it on.
Yeah, they did. Forbes is a dog. Louisville is probably going to go to Omaha. They play game 2 today, I think.
Yeah.
So
Back-to-back home runs in the first.
Mailbag question here. Friend of the show, fellow Just Baseball member on Instagram, JM Staff.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you hoping that we draft in the first round of this year?
Oh. So my dream scenario is that the top college bat right now is Ava Arquette from Oregon State. Is that he falls to 6? That doesn't seem likely, but if he's there, the Pirates need to jump on that. I think the most likely scenario is that we get one of the top prep guys like Billy Carlson, who I'm also really high on, and just seeing how last year I was all over drafting a college bat early, just given the depth of the college bats last year. It's not as deep this year.
Yeah,
and not that I didn't want them to draft Connor Griffin because he's been spectacular, and I think he's going to move fast. Could we hit lightning in a bottle and get another high-profile prep guy? You don't want to bet on that, but like Billy Carlson could be that guy. Wyatt Sanford's looked really good in Bradenton. Right. Eddie Reinders is a promising bat. He's still at the complex level, but
you're talking like 4 or 5 years now.
For sure, I don't think Connor Griffin's going to be.
No, I think Connor. I think.
But yeah, as we move further
3,
out, to this next draft, it's going to be 4 years probably. So, I think the most likely scenario is Billy Carlson. But if it was my dream scenario, I would love to see Arquette.
Arquette, 6'5", 220 shortstop.
Yeah, he's a beast.
50 hit tool, 55 power, 50 run, 60 arm, 50 field, overall 55. I mean, that's a guy that could be in the pros next year.
Yeah.
Right. And I think ultimately, if you were talking, we bring this up every single time, windows.
Yeah.
Right. And you're actually trying to win with Paul Skeens and Bubba Chandler and the guys that you have right now before 2029. Like, you want guys that are going to be able to contribute sooner rather than later. And that's not going to be like the prep guys are going to be here at the end of that window.
Yeah, 100%. But here's the thing: like, I definitely hear that. But the draft is more or less a crapshoot.
Sure.
You know, you don't draft in the MLB at least. You don't draft for need. Like this isn't the NFL where you're like, I need a safety. I'm in dire need of safety.
Unless you're like the Angels.
Yeah, or you just take all arms, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have much arms. But saw someone else trip there.
Yeah,
it's a hazard.
Thanks.
But yeah, so my argument against that is that the draft is a crapshoot, and you got to just take the best player available to build the depth in your system and have the most upside. And from there, you need to use that depth to get what you need in the trade market. Now, do I trust our front office to do that? No, right now. But that's the approach that I would take with the draft.
100%. We got anything?
We got a couple live questions here.
Let's go.
Hey, what's up, fellas? My name's Nick. I'm from Punxsutawney, PA,
Oh,
Groundhog City. Just curious if you guys think they're going to trade Santana this year, if they're going to hang on to him for the future. Just curious to get your thoughts on that.
Good question. I absolutely think they're going to trade Santana because does he have multiple years of control? Yeah, and he's a high profile reliever. At the deadline, relievers go for a premium, and they're going to pay more because you want to make that push in the second half of the season to make the playoffs and build your depth. So I think you could get probably the most for Santana right now, and then probably explore Bednar and other guys like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you're going to find more Dennis Santanas out in the world, right? You're going to find more.
He was claimed off of waivers last year, and he turned into our closer.
Bullpen arms could be great for 2 years and bad for 7. So like let's sell it high. I think they missed the window with David Bednar in that regard, but yeah, I think if you're the Pirates, you got to realize you're not going to compete. You don't need a high-end reliever to lose 80 games.
That's another that's another thing we've talked about a lot is like you don't need when you're rebuilding and you're not competing, like you don't need a star closer, right? Like I don't want to say finding a closer is easy, but like arms are a dime a dozen, and there's a lot of relievers are failed starters for the most part, and you can get a Dennis Santana off waivers for super cheap. So for relievers especially, I think you gotta trading too early is better than trading too late. They kind of missed the boat on Holderman, Bednar. Maybe they can recapture that momentum with Bednar here this trade deadline. But yeah,
100%.
Good question.
Well, free coffee. Here you go, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
We got one from a friend of the show, longtime listener, Jim Rosati. He says, hello from Super Regionals. Question for Scott. What is it like knowing you'll never get to see one of these in Pittsburgh?
Oh, no. Can we end the show now? Yeah. I probably won't. I've accepted that. But I'm gonna be the bigger person here and say I'm happy for you, Jim. I'm happy that you get to experience all this winning. When you come to town this year for football, it's gonna be a different story. So
Louisville versus Pitt.
Yeah. Eli Holstein for Heisman.
I don't know about that, dude. You're digging yourself a bigger hole.
I absolutely am. Don't cut this.
I see this getting clipped, and I see us watching it back in the future.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
Yeah, Rosati's the worst. So I gotta make that known. Over here wearing the big Cardinal chain and the Pirate jersey, always rubbing it in my face. We can't have nice things.
Are there any other Henry Davis jerseys at the stadium or no?
We'll see what he says.
I doubt it. No, right? No one. No.
Isn't it the Henry Davis weight? He donated.
I think it's the weight room or the clubhouse is the Henry Davis.
Should be the batting cage.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
You got another live question?
Longtime friend of the pod, Michael.
Nice hat, by the way, Michael.
From New York. Thank you. It's unfortunate they ended up losing, though.
Yeah.
Wearing a Knicks hat for all the listeners. So my question is, Thursday was Dollar Dog Night. Were either of you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we left early.
Yeah, it was a rain delay, so I could see why. Question about these hot dogs. Where are they getting these things from? Because a lot of them were gray and just oddly colored and disformed. And what's the deal with these?
That's why they're $1, brother. I think they're getting them at the hot dog store.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where they're getting. I mean, they're clearly keeping these things in room temperature in some storage room at PNC Park, and then they throw them in the boiler, probably along with the buns too. The buns are real soggy.
Yeah, for sure. That's because they take them out of the pot. Well, after they boil them for 2 seconds, they put them in a bun, and they become soggy when they wrap them up. But I will say this: I'll tell you where they're not getting them: Coney Island in Newcastle. Shout out
Brutal.
Bucko Mike.
Brutal.
Hot
Good.
dog capital of America.
Good hot dog question. You get a free coffee. Yeah, no problem. Let's talk. Let's pivot back a little bit here.
Yeah.
To Pirates baseball. Let's talk Nick Gonzalez, because Nick Gonzalez is now in the lineup. This is
Probably
probably
second yesterday. How about
Yeah.
that lineup? That was different.
very different. This is probably the lineup that Ben Cherington envisioned going into the season. I don't, you could be the judge of whatever.
Well,
you
Hayes
say.
getting the day off.
Yeah.
Kutch getting the day off. But yeah, for the most part, Horwitz is here.
Yeah.
Gonzalez is back.
It's the availability, right? The availability of the guys is there. You need a guy like Nick Gonzalez in the lineup to go hunt, right? To be aggressive. When he came up last night with bases loaded, what was it? 1 out.
Yep.
Okay. You knew he was swinging first pitch. Like you knew, and I mean, like, listen, he got caught guessing at first. He was being too aggressive, swung at a ball in the dirt, and then just competed. And he I think Doug might have said it on NSI, but like he hunts RBIs. Like,
Yeah, he does. I love it.
He absolutely wants to drive in runs at any cost. And we've talked about this before, you need an aggressive hitter. Now, I don't know about hitting him 2, right?
Yeah.
But like somewhere in the middle of the lineup, or like through like 6 through 8, like a guy that's going to be able to drive in runs, whether it's a sac fly or just putting the ball in play. I think Nick Gonzalez offers that. He's going to swing the bat. He's rarely going to go down looking.
I feel like he's had a couple walk-offs already in his short career or young career so far. Because
Yeah.
he's, like you said, he has that hunting
Right.
approach. And I love when he came up the bat last night. Obviously, I wasn't watching the game. I watched recaps, videos. I was like, oh, this is the guy I want in
Right.
that spot. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously he came up with the top of the order in O'Neal Cruz, and you don't mind that as well. And he went down looking, which is hard to do in that situation. But let's go back to like when we talked to Nick Gonzalez on the pod, right? We asked him about those walk-offs last year, and his approach is one of the better approaches on the team.
Yeah.
When it comes to just attacking a hitter, and he'll be the first to tell you like he's super aggressive.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna swing the bat, but it's controlled violence and really just having an understanding for the zone. But it goes all the way to, I mean, this is for pretty much every major league hitter, but what he told us is, in those types of situations, he's looking at literally everything that's going on out on the field and what those guys in front of him got. So like O'Neal Cruz went down looking, they got bases loaded. He's going to try and get ahead in the account right away. So what does he do? He goes up there swinging. He got caught guessing. So
Yep.
guess what? If he doesn't, he probably ends the game in that first pitch, right?
Yeah.
And then he has the same approach the rest of the at bat, and it gets the job done. He drove the ball to
Yeah.
the fence.
I thought it was gone off the bat when I saw the
Same,
video.
we were sitting right there. It was pretty sick. But I think adding him to this lineup, I mean, it's not going to make the team all that much better right now. I mean, there's a lot more issues to fix. I think it's more just roster construction and overall getting the right pieces to fit the puzzle. But it's nice to have Nick Gonzalez back.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
We got 2 questions in the chat. One from our friend Max Greenberg, calling in from Madison, Wisconsin. If PNC is the best park in baseball, what's second and why? Or if you're feeling like hating, what's the worst park in baseball?
Oh, I can answer.
And why is it American Family Field?
That's Milwaukee, right?
Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't been.
Actually, I don't mind it that much. I thought it was okay. Like it's like mid tier. I think we have the same answer for worst field, right?
It's Nationals.
Yeah, it's Nationals Park.
Yeah.
I also didn't like guaranteed rate White Sox Stadium.
Yeah.
There's just like nothing special about it. There's not really much around it. But yeah, I would say Nationals. We had a bad experience there.
Real bad. You want to go talk about it? I'll say this. Outside of Nationals Park is nice, right? They've really done it up. They have the area called the Bullpen where they have like bars and
Yeah, that was
food
cool.
and
That was
music.
the best part about the area.
Yeah. The experience outside the stadium is great. Maybe one of the better ones that I've had in in maybe the 15 stadiums that I've been to.
Yep.
You walk in and there's nothing special about that place.
No.
At all. There's no redeeming qualities. You're in the Capitol and there's nothing that would resemble that whatsoever. There's no views. There's no like cool history behind it. I know they're a newer team, all things considered, but like try and like make like ball. That's the good thing about visiting different ballparks is like everything is unique. It was such a run in the mill stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I would say my best outside of PNC is Wrigley.
Yeah.
Just like the history there, and Wrigleyville is awesome. Like probably the best neighborhood around a ballpark. It's just really historic, and you feel like you're watching a game in like the 1920s, but in in a modern era though. It's pretty cool. I also love Camden. I think those are my top 3.
Camden's great. Wrigley, the best part about Wrigley is you have that feel, like that old school feel, but they've done such a great job renovating that place.
Oh, they've kept it up and kept it in the old times. Like you still feel like you're at an old park, but they've kept up with it, I guess.
Right. Yeah. For me, here's a sleeper. Kaufman.
Okay, I've not been
in Kansas City. Downside about Kaufman, it's surrounded by about 9 miles of parking lot, and there's nothing around
parking
it.
lot with the Chief Stadium, right?
Yeah. I think the best part about ballparks is just plopping them down into like any old neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's great.
Well, that's the problem with American Family Field too. It's like literally off a highway.
Right.
So,
but with Kaufman, it has like that same feel as PNC Park when you're inside it, like very small but like unique. You get the fountains, the cool scoreboard, like a nice walk out in the outfield. Real cool.
Intimate and like unique for Kansas City.
And then Toronto with the roof open is a top 10 stadium for me with the CN Tower.
I mean, Toronto's
right
just
above
a
it.
top 10 city for me. So yeah,
and
absolutely.
They've done an excellent job with the renovations. Roof closed Toronto, bottom 10 for me.
Okay, I would say it is really cool in the playoff atmosphere there because it gets so loud when it's closed. And I mean, obviously, it's probably going to be closed in October. And you kind of feel like you're at like a World Cup match or something.
It's like a hockey.
It's really loud and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Canada baseball fans in Canada, they love the Blue Jays, and I mean all the way across the country, obviously.
Yeah.
So really cool experience there. But great question. That's open for interpretation, I guess.
Got another one in the chat here. We're talking bullpen a lot today. We're talking closers today. Could Bednar be traded? This is from Sherrod Learn. Could Bednar be traded for a high ceiling single A player similar to the Dodgers trade when they traded Watson for Cruz?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think short answer, yes. I think there's still a lot to dream on with David Bednar. You're talking about a 2-time All-Star, and I know we just got done saying like relievers, you could find them on the waivers, but the stuff is there.
Yeah.
And like I think since he's come back, the numbers have been pretty nice. Like he's not where he was before, but he's close enough to the point where I think another team could take a chance on him.
Yeah.
And say, hey, listen.
Especially a team like the Dodgers.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, you're probably not going to throw him into a closer role there. You're going to probably put him in like middle relief or like 7th inning guy or, a specialist, but bowling ball type fastball with the 12-6, like that plays. And like maybe a change of scenery could even play up higher for a team that's going to be willing to overpay for a high A prospect. I don't even think you need like
was
like
O'Neill a
DSL
top
guy.
100 guy when we acquired him?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I mean, he was really young when we acquired him, but I mean, for sure, I think you could get that type of upside with Bednar. I'd prefer to use these assets to get upper level depth. But I don't know I don't think you're going to get like a top 100 prospect. Probably more of a guy in like a Nick York mold.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Like what type of upper depth
Yeah.
are you looking for, right? Are you looking for just guys? Or are you looking for guys that can contribute to like when you want this team to be winning?
Yeah.
Right. Because when you want the team to be winning, you want guys that are going to develop into everyday starters
and have more upside than
right.
just being a potential utility guy.
You don't like, are you going to bring in, 4 more Billy Cooks?
Yeah.
Right. No, nothing against Billy Cook. He hasn't had the best start to the year. And like, could he be a major league glove? Yeah, for sure. But like,
probably more of a 4th outfielder.
Yeah, you want guys that you're going to be able to dream on. So I would almost rather be like, yeah, we'll trade him for a double A, a double A prospect or like a high A guy that has a lot of promise, or maybe like a college bat.
Bednar for Zaire Hope. He's like a top 10 prospect.
I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah,
love Zaire
but
Hope.
Those teams like that. I mean, I don't know if the Pirates necessarily have the assets to make those types of big time trades. Like you hear like Jarren Duran, his name's getting floated out there.
The ask for him is like pretty high.
Like he was an MVP voting,
and he has a couple years of control,
right?
So
yeah. So here's the deal. You want like trades that are going to bring in the most, like you're not going to get your Zaire hopes of the world, but like teams like the Padres, the Dodgers, potentially the Red Sox are going to overpay.
Yep.
Right. And you've seen them do that, especially the Padres. They do not care who they have. Right.
I love that.
AJ Preller is going to
He's a
trade just about
madman.
anybody
Yeah.
to win right now. So you could take advantage of some of those teams in order to kind of push the agenda a little bit with maybe like a David Bednar, Dennis Santana.
Everyone say hi to our local media, Colin Beasley, walking by. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Media. Nice to see him. He actually lives in my building. But anyways, yeah.
You want to give your address and his apartment
No,
number
I don't.
too?
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
We got another question.
Hey guys, friend of the pod here, Adam Cinco, 3-time guest. Happy to be finally on a live show. I have a question. Marlins series coming up. You guys know I'm a resident Marlins guy on the pod, so I had to ask. Tough opening series of the year against the Fish down in Miami. 3 walk-off losses. How are we gonna right that wrong here with struggling Marlins team coming into town?
Oh, man.
What was the last part of that sentence?
How are we gonna get back at the Fish for that opening series?
Strong Marlins.
No, I said
Okay.
a very weak Marlins.
Yeah, they're. I mean, they got swept by the.
Oh,
They got swept by the Rockies, right? Yeah.
They got swept by the Rockies.
Yeah, Rockies swept someone before we did.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, I man, that's a great question. And they've got some guys on the IL too, like Max Meyer just went down, and yeah, I mean, I think this team is playing better baseball than they did that first week. So, swinging it a little bit better. I don't know. I think hopefully we just come out hot and score some runs against a struggling staff.
Yeah. Before I give free coffee for asking a question live on the pod, here's what I would say. One thing I do like about this Marlins team, I think they are doing it the right way in terms of rebuilding. Right, I think like they tore it down. They made the playoffs that one year. Were really bad. I was kind of iffy on how they were operating. I liked Schumacher. I liked Kim.
Yeah, Kim.
Right? But they have a ton of great prospects, and like I think that trade with Baltimore is paying.
It was
dividends.
a highway robbery.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Kyle Stowers is a everyday player.
I think it's energy with these types of teams, man. Like I think that the Marlins have young energy. I think you could see there is some type of team chemistry with those guys. There's a plan. Now here's the deal, Mr. Cinco. We have to score more runs than the Marlins by the time the game is over. So it's not hard to do, but you're talking to Pirates fans. So it is very difficult to do. Scoring runs is at a premium. So good question. Marlins will be in town next week. Jack McMullen for the Marlins, their radio guy and our boss at Just Baseball, will be in town. So
yes,
we'll do some on-field content with them. Nice seeing you,
Cinco,
buddy.
Always good seeing you, brother. But yeah, no, that'll be a good series. It's weird to say I'm envious of Marlins fans because it's the Marlins, but Peter Bendix, I think, has done a pretty good job of acquiring young talent and getting trading away his assets for future assets.
Right.
And they have a plan, they have a foundation, and they're fun to watch. You got Agustin Ramirez that just came up, and he's
a dog.
He's a dog. He's going to be their everyday catcher. I don't know if he's going to catch long term, but he's got a bat. He's got an incredible bat, and they got some exciting young players. We just claimed Ronnie Simon off waivers from them, who Jack McMullen, I think I said this in our last episode, told us, awesome guy, really fun, but more of probably
same.
Emmanuel Valdez mold, light hitting, middle infielder, utility guy, but he's fun, and
he just doesn't fit.
Yeah, I don't know where you play him, but yeah.
Right. Here's another. Before we get into more live questions, another live question we got from the mailbag is, sorry, I don't have the name here. What does Adam Frazier's playing time look like now that Nick Gonzalez is back?
He played right field last night.
Played right field last night.
How'd he do?
Not bad.
Okay.
Outfield, you remember two things: a nice catch and an error. So like, if you're not talking about that, then did fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of your super utility guys. I mean, I think it's a bat that you have to keep around right now, which just sounds crazy to say. Like, this is a guy that we didn't really have much excitement about coming back, but he's actually been a catalyst in this lineup, and he's helped guys like Henry Davis, from what we've heard. So, I think he's comfortable here, and I think you keep him around in that super utility role, spelling guys here and there. I think he's only gonna play second and right field, right?
Right.
Probably not gonna see him at third base, but I think you're gonna see him in the lineup maybe 3-4 days a week, if at most.
But like him jumping around is the way you want it.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Whether it's gonna be right field, second base. I mean, you've seen him play a little bit of first base.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, as long as if you want to keep the dad in the lineup, you'll find a way. But I don't think it's going to be hindered too much. I think Nick Gonzalez is obviously going to be your everyday guy, but I would expect him to have more days off early on as he gets ramped up.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have any other live ones here, but I was just scrolling through the Pirates Instagram. They posted, and then I looked at the comments, which is usually an awful thing to do, but I found a good question in there. So, in my opinion, the most exciting play in the game last night was a bunt laid down by IKF. And why is the most exciting play in the game a bunt? I'll say that. And two, he's pretty clearly the best hitter on the team. He's been sitting above 300 for the last few weeks, 2 weeks. Do you think they should still just keep him at 9, or should they move him up? A couple people in the comments were asking that.
I keep him at 9. I like him in that, like, turning the order over, especially when you come back to O'Neill, because while O'Neill has done well in the leadoff spot in kind of like a Schwarber type of role,
right?
I want him coming to the plate with guys on base,
right?
And I think obviously when you open the game, he's not going to have anyone on base, but like when you're turning that order around, IKF gives you an opportunity to manufacture runs and move guys over and get guys on base. So
right.
I think you keep him at 9. I think he fits well there. Don't mess with not broken, and continue having him in that second leadoff spot.
Couple things. I 100% agree with you. The reason we can't move him up in the order is because we just don't have the roster to protect O'Neill.
Yeah, that too.
We don't. So you need to put O'Neill in that first spot where if he walks, he's going to steal. Second base, he's been very successful. I think he's got 22 on the year. He would have had 23 last night if it wasn't for interference, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need him to come up with somebody on, and that's the best opportunity you're going to have in this lineup is hitting him first, and then IKF getting on, and then O'Neill coming up. Also, IKF is probably going to be traded.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He's going to go to a team that needs an extra bat at the deadline. So probably going to have him for another month or two. But if you take him out of that, one last thing on this, if you take him out of that 9 hole, that bottom half of the lineup gets very bare.
Yeah.
So that's another aspect of it. But I just think he fits that role perfectly. So
100%. Before we continue, little ad read here from one of our top sponsors, Total Sports Enterprises, tscshop.com for all your Pittsburgh sports memorabilia needs. Pirates, Penguins, Steelers, much more. You've been talking about getting a Paul Skeens autographed jersey in your office. I know you've been on that for a while, right? You can get a mystery box for $65 on tscshop.com, and there's some Paul Skeens jerseys in there. Might be the best bang for your buck, right? You might get Adam Frazier. You might get Paul Skeens. It's a gamble. Go over to tscshop.com for all your Pittsburgh sports memorabilia needs. We got a game tonight.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. You have a chance to win the series. You got Ranger Suarez versus Andrew Heaney.
Yep.
Heaney, as of late, hasn't been the early Andrew Heaney, but he still has a 3.39 ERA. Hasn't looked bad overall.
How did Heaney do against the Phillies last time?
I actually don't remember.
I'm going to pull that up real quick.
I don't remember, but we don't have a lineup as of yet. But you have a lefty and Ranger Suarez. So you're going to get a
So
right.
Heaney pitched against Suarez last time, went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 3 walks, 2 Ks.
Okay, beautiful.
So
I think this typical Pirates team, basically, it's been the story all year. If they win a game early in the series, and we talk about taking the series game 2, it's always they flop, and then it's left up to game 3, and you're put in a way worse situation. but you're gonna get a righty heavy lineup today, right?
Absolutely. And you've got Ranger Suarez has pitched really well as of late. So he's a guy that's not gonna like overpower you, but he's gonna induce a lot of weak contacts and ground balls. So hopefully they can turn it around. They didn't do well against him last time. But it's a golden opportunity to win a series here. I'm glad they took the bullpen game yesterday.
Right.
But golden opportunity to go up 2-0 in the series and, go into Sunday, winning the series.
Let's guess the starting lineup today. All right.
Okay.
I'm going O'Neill leading off in center. I'm going to go.
Kutch in the DH.
You want to go Kutch 2 in the DH?
Yep.
3, Brian Reynolds.
Yep.
In right field.
Yep.
4,
Canario or Gonzalez.
Man,
because Nicky G had a had a game in the 4-hole not too
okay,
long.
so we'll go Nicky G,
then Canario 5,
then Canario 5. Then you're gonna go Spence. I think Spence would probably be. Unless, I would just give him at bats versus lefties. Like,
Yeah.
well,
I think I could see him sitting against Sanchez tomorrow rather than Suarez today.
so I guess the alternative would be Triolo at first base, and then Hayes.
I don't think he's going to get 2 starts in a row. At first base, especially.
I'm very Derek Shelton right now in terms of like thinking that.
Yeah,
they're
but your
just
next
gonna,
2 games are against lefties.
I know.
So like, I could see Triolo in that Sunday lineup tomorrow against Sanchez, who's a probably a more difficult, overpowering pitcher.
Yeah.
So let's go Spence 6, Henry 7, maybe.
Okay. And then what? Hayes, and then IKF. I think everything stays the same except for Triolo.
Yep.
I would go with that. Hayes, by the way, the other day, I don't know if you saw that play.
Oh, that play? Yeah, it's disgusting.
Unreal. Got a live question?
All right. Phillies shirt, Phillies hat, whatever.
Go ahead. It's a good question. So, I hear all the chatter about Skeens getting dealt the deadline, but realistically, unless you get a King's ransom plus more, you're not dealing him. So, who realistically is the biggest piece that the Pirates deal at this deadline?
So it's a popular question today. I mean, Dennis Santana, I think, is a guy with control, high leverage reliever that you deal. But I also think if you're talking about like pedigree and names, to Brian Hayes or Brian Reynolds. I think everyone's on the table except for O'Neill and Skeens or Keller. Keller too. I think they're going to listen on almost everyone but Skeens and O'Neill.
Yeah. Remember the other day we were at the park and somebody overheard you saying they should look into trading Brian Hayes or Brian Reynolds or listen to offers, and he's like, "That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard."
Yeah.
He's like, "That's the dumbest thing I've heard all day." It's not.
It's not.
This team does not win games. So I would say Mitch Keller would probably yield you the highest return if you're trying to look for like people that are ready right now. But other than that, yeah, I would agree.
More for sure. The most for sure guy I would say is probably Dennis Santana.
Yeah, for sure.
Other guys they're gonna listen on. So
free coffee.
Even for a Phillies fan. Look how nice we are. Look, we're reaching across enemy lines. We're being nice. Philly people wouldn't do the same, but it's okay. We're kind here in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Okay.
We got anything else?
All right. I want to jump back to a previous topic that we had before we have it. Well, let's do this. We got another one? Yeah. Let's do this question first and then we'll jump back. We're getting the question vetted right now.
Debo is hard at work, yeah.
That's
why we pay him the big bucks as the Bucko Banner intern.
Where I live, where I'm from. And my name is Matthew. I'm from New Jersey, but I am a Pirates fan.
Hell yeah.
Yep. So I want to ask about Henry Davis. And since Bart's out with an injury, and Davis is a better fielder, and he's obviously in the past been hitting pretty poorly, but recently been hitting all right. He had that home run last night. When Bart comes back from injury, he's healthy again. You think Davis we're going to see more of him coming up?
Yeah, I 100%. We were talking about this a little bit ago. You need to give him more of a sample size, right? Like he doesn't have much service time at all. I think people are super tough on him because he's 1-1. You want him to succeed, but like I think guys like that take some time, and we're not going to be able to tell what Henry Davis is unless you play him, right? So I think what's going to happen when Bart comes back is Henry takes a majority of the reps. Bart steps more into a DH role, splitting with Andrew McCutchen. He'll catch it every once in a while, but you're right. Like the glove is significantly better, which is unreal for a guy that came in and they didn't really think of him as like a defensive guy.
I think most of the pitchers prefer Henry behind the plate too. I mean, he's Paul Skeens is everyday catcher,
Right.
so
And then I think you stay with Bart and Henry, and then Endy is kind of the odd man out here. Yeah.
Sure.
Good question.
Yeah.
Free coffee.
Oh yeah.
Here you go, sir.
I want to bounce back real quick to a topic that we were talking about before, Nick Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I want to get your perspective on this as you played outfield in college. You hit a lot longer than I did. But when playing in high school, like I used to hate when coaches would say, some coaches would say, always take the first pitch, no matter what, take the first pitch. And I hated that because I hated being behind the count. And sometimes the first pitch is the best pitch. It just, I guess it also depends on the situation of the game and how the pitcher's doing. If he's wild, maybe you don't want to give him that first strike. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I love personally, like I don't want all my whole lineup having Nick Gonzalez approach, but I love watching him, and I love that he goes up there and hunts and he's aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, we have a college hitting coach right here that we could probably ask. But here,
Adam Cinco, college hitting coach.
Here, hey,
Cinco,
come here, sit down, answer this question. Intro him.
All right, Adam Cinco, actually first guest on Bucko Banner. College
First
hitting
ever
coach.
guest. Yep, proud.
Bloomsburg University.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Pittsburgh, brother.
Thank you.
Got a question for you.
Yep.
I was just telling Shorb, in high school, I used to hate when coaches would say, always take the first pitch, right? Because sometimes the first pitch is the best pitch. And I also only hitting up through high school, but I didn't like being behind the count. Yeah. If that first pitch was a fastball, I wanted to jump on it, right? And I love that Nick Gonzalez is really aggressive at the plate. Obviously, I don't want my whole lineup having that approach, but I love having that guy up there that goes up there and hunts RBIs and is aggressive. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I love it. I think an 0-0 count is a hitter's count.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So to me, it doesn't even have to be just a fastball down the middle. A hanging slider, hanging curveball is also, a hitter's pitch to me. So anything over the plate, starting the at bat, like if we're in hunting mode, let's go get it, instead of being more passive and waiting for like say a perfect pitch. Like you may not ever get that. So
I think we've seen it like the polar opposite last year with Jack Sawinski, where Jack Sawinski was like taking more pitches than usual and like getting behind the count. And this is a guy that swings and misses a lot. So it's kind of going against him already, right? And obviously it depends on this game situation too. Like if a pitcher's struggling at the plate and he's you don't want to give him that first strike,
right?
You maybe want to be
need to get on base. If we're looking to work a guy a little bit, yeah. But in general, I think, to me, something that I talk about a lot is taking a good pitch is almost worse than swinging at a bad pitch, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a missed opportunity. So you're taking good pitches down the middle or early in the count, and that's missed opportunities.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Cinco. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. We got a live question. Let's go.
Who's hitting the first home run today?
First home run.
First.
Home run.
I think there should be multiple today. So who's hitting the first?
Okay.
I'll go O'Neill.
O'Neill, lefty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go Nick Gonzalez. Put all of your money on Nick Gonzalez home run. Who wins the game?
I win.
You win.
So because I picked O'Neill and
You want to bet on this?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. You're O'Neill. I'm Nick G.
Okay. What do you want?
Okay.
Money on it? Or free coffee? There we
We
go.
already got free coffee.
Another coffee.
Another coffee.
I'm
All
not,
right.
I'm
Hey,
not caffeinated
deal.
enough.
Deal.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. And you get a free coffee. There you go. Thanks for the question.
Have a good day.
You too. All right.
All righty. So
I think he's going left home run.
yeah, I do. He's due for another one.
Yeah, I feel like he hit that one 180,000 miles per hour the
Yeah.
other day. So,
Yeah, I think he's gonna get this game started hot, and I think we're gonna get an early lead and hopefully hold it.
right.
So.
We got anything else?
Here, let's get you on the mic.
Oh, cool.
What's your name? Where are you from?
John, Pittsburgh born and raised, Millville, Shaler area. Just curious, what are your thoughts on when we'll see the Pirates win a World Series or even be in a World Series?
Jeez, man. So what we've seen I'm 31. You're 30.
Yep.
Right. I've seen 4 winning seasons in my entire lifetime. When I think, oh God, 2030 book it. Pirates World Series.
Hear me out.
2030.
2026.
2026. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm
I
an
just-
optimist. I'm
I
too
think,
positive.
I think the bats that they have that would actually contribute if they're going to build from within are in the next window or in the lower levels. So if those guys work out, I think then they have a chance to compete. They obviously need to re-sign some pitchers and keep that staff consistent. And that probably means they don't have Paul Skeens at that time, but they're not winning. I mean, I would love to win with Paul Skeens, but it doesn't seem like they're doing anything to say like, hey, that's the plan right now, right? So unless you prove me otherwise, I would say it's like around that ballpark.
In all seriousness, here's a futures bet for you. I don't even know if you can bet this far ahead, but 2030, let's say that's the World Series window. Connor Griffin, World Series MVP. Connor Griffin, World Series MVP. Yep.
Wow. Okay, let's put a future on it
Yep,
right
put a
now.
future.
Here we go. We got
6 years in advance.
free
5
coffee.
years.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. All right, we got 9 minutes left on the pod. Real quick ad read. Sports Card Junction for all of your hobby needs up on 9011 Perry Highway. Best sports card shop in Pittsburgh
by far.
Baseball cards, football cards, basketball, hockey, Pokemon, and much more. Go to Sports Card Junction. You can also go to sportscardjunction.com. We'll be at the game today.
Yes.
We're going to be on the field. Real quick, anybody in the chat, we'll be on the field today. What question should we ask the players?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. We have a couple backlogged videos that we're going to be putting out here pretty soon, but what questions should we ask the Pittsburgh Pirates, and maybe what questions would you ask certain Philadelphia Phillies? Put them in the chat or DM us, let us know, and maybe we'll ask them on the field. And then later today, after the game, we have a post-game show at Proper Brick Oven on 7th Avenue downtown. So there's a courtyard between How at the Moon and Proper Brick Oven.
7th Street.
Yeah.
There's 7th Avenue, 7th Street.
7th Street.
7th Street, yeah.
After the game, immediately after the game, we are going to do a post-game show.
Yep.
There'll be a bar there, music. Hopefully the weather holds up. It was supposed to rain, and we got a beautiful day right now here in the Strip.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to hold off. I don't think we have any rain forecast the rest of the day. And
Right.
yeah, come out for the post game. What is that going to be, like 7 o'clock ish?
right around there.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll probably leave the game probably in like the 8th inning or so to go set up. And then right when the game ends, maybe like 15, 20 minutes after, go right over, just go across the bridge, get a beer, get a drink, and then let's talk more Bucs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for that, man. It's a cool spot. Obviously there's a lot going on downtown. They're trying to renovate that area before the draft. But yeah, it's a cool spot. Come down, Proper Brick Oven. House right there, and it'll be fun.
After the Phillies, you got the Marlins in town.
And then we're going away.
And then they're going away. How do you still believe at all that they could win a couple series in a row? And then do you get your hope back at all? Not to like win this year, but like to keep yourself invested.
Yeah. I feel really positive or optimistic if they win this series, because you're going in and you got the Marlins next. So that'll be you got to think that they have the upper hand in that series, even though they didn't play them well in the first series of the season. Take advantage of this Marlins team that's struggling right now. And then where do they go after that? They're on the road.
Tell you right now. They have.
I don't think they're doing another West Coast trip for a little bit.
No. Miami, and then they're in Chicago to play the Cubs.
Okay.
And then Detroit, and then they're back versus the Rangers. And then they go to Milwaukee, and then they are home versus the Mets in St. Louis. And then I don't know if we've announced this yet, but we will be going to Seattle.
Yeah.
July
4th of
4th
July.
weekend. We'll be there for the Friday and Saturday games. So if you're in Seattle, if you happen to be in Seattle,
Yeah. Happen to take a weekend trip to Seattle. Come see us.
Come see us. Any predictions for tonight? I know we just had a little home run bet.
Yeah.
I already forgot what we bet on.
Another coffee, right?
Another coffee.
Yeah.
Sure. What's going to happen tonight?
Yeah, I think the bats are going to come out hot. I'm optimistic against Ranger Suarez. I think you're going to see a more complete lineup tonight. When I say complete lineup, I think you're going to see more of your everyday guys in there. And yeah, I think they're going to come out hot against Ranger Suarez. Get the ball in the air a little bit more, hopefully. And I think the how many guys threw last night? 4 out of the bullpen. It's a little bit taxed.
Sugar, Ferguson, Santana, Bednar.
Okay, so I think Heaney goes 6 to 7.
All right.
I think Heaney goes 6 to 7. And I think the key for them is to get into that Phillies bullpen.
Right.
Really. So if you can jump on Ranger early, I think you're at an advantage because they had a bullpen game yesterday, and their bullpen isn't the strongest.
Right. Well, Ranger right now is 4-0 with a 2.72 ERA.
Yeah, he's had a really good.
He's not striking out a lot of guys, but to your point, like let's elevate to celebrate here a little bit. I think we've gone generally unlucky. I think Horwitz has driven the ball pretty well. But you pointing at something?
Oh no, I was just saying.
Okay. I think Horwitz is driving the ball pretty well and hasn't had luck as of late. But I think if he's in the lineup, like look to see him put a ball in the gap here. And I think Kutch the past couple of games when he's played drove the ball pretty well and just like wasn't falling. So hopefully that turns into some slugging. Right. We saw Nick Gonzalez hit a triple last night.
Yep.
Get guys on early. That's gonna be a key, right? Get a guy on second early, get a guy on third early, drive him in. Let's go win a ball game, huh?
Yeah, let's go win tonight. And yeah, let's come out to Proper Brick Oven afterwards.
Yeah.
And come out to Harp and Fiddle next week, I guess.
Harp and Fiddle as well. We got another live show.
Stacking up the live shows here.
Yeah, the live shows. If you want to do a live show and you're in Pittsburgh, let us know. We'll do just about anything out here.
We're cheap.
We're cheap. Deeps, any closing remarks for today?
Well, we have. I would be remiss to not ask this last question here. Longtime listener, loyal viewer, and question asker, Patty Gyron. Question for the players on the field. Who's the most vocal leader on the team? Could be a fun one. I remember when they asked Steph Curry that, and he said Draymond Green. It caused a lot of discussion, a lot of discourse. Could be interesting.
Are we going to rile up the clubhouse? I was getting worried because I hadn't heard a question from Patty yet. So I'm glad we got that in here at the end. But yeah, that's
who do you think the most vocal leader is?
Oh boy. I feel like I want to say Skeens, but like he's not very vocal.
Keyword vocal.
Yeah,
right?
vocal.
There's different. You lead with actions and
I feel like Henry Davis could be. That's the problem with this. Like, who is the vocal? I don't think Kutch is really that vocal. I think Adam Frazier mentors a lot of guys, but I don't know if he's stepping up in front of the whole team and being a vocal leader.
Right.
That's a good question. I also have another question that we could possibly ask, and I feel like the question is going to be, or the answer is going to be obvious if we ask the Phillies versus the Pirates. Philly cheesesteak or Permane sandwich?
I mean,
they're
could ask if they like fries on their sandwiches.
Okay. Yeah.
Fries and coleslaw. You'd rather a Permane sandwich?
100%.
Right.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's going to do it for today. If you don't already, go follow us on all social media at Bucko Banter. Go subscribe to the YouTube at Bucko Banter. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, share, tell a friend, and then come see us at the ballpark. We will have giveaways today. We have a big box of cards courtesy of Sports Card Junction. We have a signed autograph photo courtesy of Total Sports Enterprises. So if you get the trivia right, you get a prize.
Yeah.
Get a
It's just
chance
that
to
simple.
get your 15 seconds of fame as well. And until next time,
raise it.
Raise it.